Hi, I wanted to shoot a real quick video all about how the coronavirus and the New Zealand countrywide lockdown is going to affect franchising and the undoubted fact that we're probably going to be going into a recession. And is franchising going to survive in a recession? How is it going to impact you as a potential franchisor recruiting franchises? Will your business survive? Will it fail? Will you have to pivot and do something totally different? And so I just wanted to put a video out there real quick about my personal thoughts, having gone through a previous recession, through the global financial crisis, starting a business in the height of that and franchising a business and becoming successful through it. And just wanted to throw a few ideas out there and a few thought processes of why now starting your franchise journey is an ideal time when a lot of people will be thinking, contracting businesses and not franchising. So I wanted to put two sides of the argument here, and I'm going to try and do it quite quickly. So as I said, I'm videoing this on Tuesday. I can't remember the exact date. I think it's the 14th of April. We're well into week 3 of the lockdown. We're definitely going to go into a recession. There's no doubt about it. Some of the things that are going to happen in the economy is, there's going to be more unemployment. We've already seen thousands, in fact, tens of thousands of people applying for the unemployment sort of benefit. And that's going to increase dramatically as businesses come out of the lockdown. The wage subsidy starts to run out after a period of 12 weeks. More and more people are going to lose their jobs. So there's going to be more unemployment. And lots of businesses are not prepared for that. And lots of people are not prepared for that because just a few weeks ago everything was great, and now all of a sudden there's a massive change in the whole world, and we're going to see people that have never been unemployed before all of a sudden unemployed. That means there's less money going around in the economy. The government's trying to stimulate that by putting more money into the economy, but it means a lot of people are going to hoard their cash. They're going to sit on their cash and not make as many buying decisions as they perhaps would have done. Some industries are going to be devastated. Like there's no inbound tourism. If you're in the domestic tourism market, relying on people coming into the country, it's going to be very difficult. Also, the economy has been propped up over the years by large immigration. Also things like foreign students for educational facilities, universities that rely on the fees from foreign students, that's going to finish. Temporary foreign workers, so industries that rely on foreign workers, a lot of the fruit picking, that kind of thing, they're going to be changed a lot. But you know what? People still spend money in a recession. Yes, it might be less and on different things, but there are opportunities everywhere if you take them. So what do I mean by that? Well, people will perhaps not be willing to spend large amounts of money and say on a foreign holiday, because foreign travel is going to be very difficult. We might be able to go out of the country, but coming back there might be quarantine regulations and all sorts of things. Air New Zealand has grounded like 85% of their planes or something. So foreign tourism is going to be impacted. But that means people may spend money on smaller luxuries, sort of domestic tourism or doing smaller things. For example, I've got a family holiday booked for 10 days in Rarotonga in June with me, my wife and my 4 kids. That's not going to happen now. Luckily enough, I have travel insurance, so I should get a near full refund. But I'll be looking at spending my money elsewhere. So the fundamentals of business are still the same. If you've still got a profitable and duplicatable business, you can adapt to the new normal that we're seeing, and your business can still flourish, but you do have to adapt. The old way isn't the new way going forward. When we come out of this lockdown in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks and into level 3 and into level 2, things are going to be different. People are going to be making smaller purchases. But that can be good news for some businesses. So what experience has shown us over a number of different recessions over the last 20, 30, 40 years is that some food businesses will go out of business. Some cafes, some luxury, the high-end restaurants will struggle. But some places like fast food actually do really well. Because people want the small luxuries. They might not eat out at the cafe 5 days a week at work, but they might take their family to a McDonald's or a fast food restaurant as a treat because they're not going to be going on holidays and spending money elsewhere. So fast food can do really well. Also businesses that, you might be in the cafe industry or something like that, can you all of a sudden make a delivery service? Delivery services or things ordered online are really succeeding. So things like Uber Eats will do very well once they're allowed back to delivering. Other areas where people change their spending habits. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the housing market. Will it still keep going? Will house prices keep increasing? Will we still see the same volume of house sales? My pick is probably not. Living through the last recession, the global financial crisis, I've actually in real estate when all that kind of started, huge volumes of house sales, and that contracted. And what people were spending their money on, rather than buying a new house, they were spending money on renovations, and not the massive renovations that they might have already planned, but smaller renovations, looking after their homes. So things like professional and home service businesses will flourish. You know, people might want to spend money on upgrading their bathroom or their shower, or adding another room, or carpeting their garage, or things like that, rather than selling their house and moving on. Building equity in the house that they've got and improving it, as opposed to moving on to a new one. So fixing things as well is another one. You know, what am I trying to say here? Home implements and things that are in the house, getting them repaired rather than buying new. That kind of business will flourish as well. So, as an example, we started our Grout Pro business back in 2008, 2009. That was on the back end of the global financial crisis. Everybody was thinking, you know, why on earth are you starting a franchise business back then? You know, nobody's going to buy franchises. You're not going to be able to sell the services. But that was totally incorrect. That was wrong. Service franchises were flourishing. Building and renovation businesses were flourishing. Fast food, you know, personal, professional service, all flourishing. What we found is when we started recruiting franchises, it was easier to find good quality talent, people that wanted to get into their own business as opposed to working for somebody else. And some of the reasons were things like this. They wanted to have control of their own future. Job security was not as certain as it once was. So we were actually finding people who had several months back a secure job, perhaps in the financial industry or a corporate environment. Their job security was not as assured as it was. So they were looking for a way out just in case that they lost their jobs. So looking at perhaps buying themselves a job and buying themselves a business, giving themselves that security for their family, perhaps making less money, certainly in the early stages. But if their job was lost and they stayed in that corporate career and their job got cut, they'd have no money and be on unemployment. So it was easier to find good quality people that were still in work, looking for some security, looking to build themselves an asset, you know, a saleable asset, and not work for the man, you know, look after their family. We also found there was a lot of very good quality people out there that were actually out of work already. You know, their company had downsized, they'd got a redundancy payment. And what does that mean? You know, if they've got a redundancy payment, they've got money sitting in the bank that they can actually go out and buy a franchise and buy their own business. So again, easy to find good quality people. Going into a recession, the fundamentals of business have not changed. If you have got a good quality, profitable and duplicatable business before all this coronavirus, COVID-19 lockdown, you're going to have one at the end if you survive that short, sharp shock of the lockdown and the post-lockdown period. If you had a great service beforehand, you're still going to have a great service after. You've just got to adapt and pivot and make sure you can attract new customers in this post-coronavirus age. And what do I mean by that? So I think some really good examples is I've been working with a number of clients, a number of potential new clients coming in to learn how to franchise their business before this all happened. You know, I've got sort of probably about 6 or 8 or 10 people I've been speaking to over the past few months, thinking about getting into franchising and, you know, and sort of signing up with me and working on one-on-one with my course. A few very interesting things happened. As soon as we knew that we were probably going into lockdown, a number of those clients sort of contracted, hid into themselves and went, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to kind of conserve my cash. You know, they kind of went into panic mode in some ways, thinking that they weren't going to survive. And that's human psychology. I totally understand that. So quite a few businesses cancelled. They didn't want to spend any money, didn't want to do anything, and just kind of cocooning. I think that's the phrase they use. So that was quite a few businesses and business people I talked to did that. Totally understandable. But what was really interesting, a couple of the others that were sort of sitting on the fence, all of a sudden they could see opportunity, because they had, like I said before, the fundamentals were there. They've got a good profitable business, it's duplicatable, it's systemized. They could see that coming what comes after this level 4 into level 3, there's going to be opportunity out there. So they're using this time constructively when they're locked down and can't do anything to build their franchise systems. What's that phrase? You know, fortune favors the bold. These people are being bold. They're capitalizing on a new opportunity. They're going to pivot their business into franchising. And those are the kinds of businesses that will succeed. They will do great post COVID-19, because this ain't going to last forever, guys. This is going to be it's a shock, and it's awful and terrible, but we will get over it. We will. So that kind of got me thinking as well, how can I pivot my business, my coaching business, my one-on-one business, and help potential franchisors like you watching this become successful with your businesses? And in the back of my mind, I've been thinking about something called the franchise DIY. So, you know, if you've watched any of my stuff, you know that I do a Franchise Your Business Accelerator program, one-on-one coaching. I do it in person and through the internet, you know, through Skype and Zoom, which has been great through this crisis, because I've been able to help people on Zoom. My business hasn't changed too much. Yes, I've lost a few clients, a few potential clients, but I've picked up some new ones, and I can still do the one-on-one coaching online, and it works great. But it got me thinking, a lot of businesses are going to have impacted cash flow, not as much cash. So how can I still offer my services at a lower cost, but also still amazing value to franchise your business? So what I've done, I've pivoted my business, and I've been working very hard. I've been sort of doing 12, 14 hours a day on what I'm going to call my franchise DIY course, or my DIY coaching. So what's that all about? Well, because people might not be able to afford, you know, $12,000, $15,000 for a 12-week one-on-one coaching course with me, but you can afford to spend $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 on a DIY course, which is the exact same content, but instead of being delivered in a you know, that takes up a lot of time and resources with one-on-one courses. What I've done is I've developed it's about, at the moment, about 12 hours of video courses going through all of the modules of the Franchise Accelerator program, but on video, with worksheets and projects and video lessons and templates. So things like the franchise agreements, the franchise manuals, the information packs, all of that thing is templated, like fill in the blank Word document type templates. And then obviously my sales system, which I've actually been doing some work on this course right now. That's why I'm standing in front of this board. So everything's like a fill in the blank, just kind of do it and home study in your own time. So I'm going to be releasing that soon. It's nearly complete. I've probably got another week's worth of work to do on it, and then editing it and getting it uploaded. But it's going to be ready soon. So I've changed my business. Can you change your business? I think that's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, if you are interested in this DIY part of what I'm doing, the franchise DIY, all you've got to do is flick us an email. You know, my email address has gone out to you by email. Flick us an email or send us a Facebook Messenger message and just say, hey, look, I'm interested in the DIY package. I don't know how much it's going to cost yet, but for the first few people, first sort of half a dozen people that put their hand up and say, yes, I'm pretty interested in that, I'll definitely do a discounted price and throw in a few bonuses, maybe a one-on-one session with me at some stage. So just say, hey, yes, interested in the DIY. All right, that's all I really wanted to say. Don't be a victim of this coronavirus for business. You know, do not go under. Don't hide, don't cocoon. What you've got to do is pivot. Look at your business differently. What can you do ever so slightly different that will make your business successful? Because the money is going to keep going around. Businesses are successful in a recession. In fact, some of the best businesses are started in a recession, because it starts when it's hard, and you can become, when it turns, and it will turn, you'll become very successful. So that's it. I'm signing off, Joe Hesmondhaus. And if you're interested in the DIY, flick us a message and say, yep, DIY is going to be for me, and I'll send you some details as and when it's ready. Talk soon.